So as we start to learn more about the victims, state officials revealing all were killed inside of a single fourth-grade classroom at the Robb Elementary School. That is where Bill Melugin continues our coverage in a brand new hour that begins now. Bill, good morning. What more have we learned?
Bill, good morning to you. Just a few moments ago, I got a brand new update from Texas DPS telling me there are still 17 people injured as a result of this mass shooting. Specifically, University Health in San Antonio, a hospital, they're reporting they are still treating a 10-year-old girl who is in serious life-threatening condition. They are treating a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old who are both in good condition, and they are treating a 66-year-old woman who is in serious life-threatening condition. That is believed to be the shooter's grandmother, and Texas DPS tells me he shot her in the face before he went over here to this school to commit this mass shooting. And as you take a look at this drone video we shot of the scene as soon as we got out here yesterday, we'll explain the latest and where this investigation is. Law enforcement sources telling us police have been serving search warrants, going through phone records, going through social media. As you heard, they are trying to contact any friends or relatives of this shooter, but they have been unsuccessful so far. Texas DPS telling me the only one they know about right now is the grandma. There's no friends, no girlfriend. They describe him as a loner to me, unemployed, no criminal history, no gang affiliation, so they don't have a lot to go on right now. Take a look at this video. This is that shooter going into the school yesterday, identified as 18-year-old Salvatore Ramos. Again, he was a local here in Uvalde who police tell us, again, the only person they know who has a connection to him right now is the grandma who he shot in the face. And he did that shortly before he arrived at the school. He went in with tactical body armor and a rifle and then just started shooting indiscriminately at children and teachers inside of that school. Take a listen to this 911 dispatch audio.
412 to all in that unit, stand by. Do not attempt to get closer, we got shots fired.
And as you look at this video of children evacuating from the school yesterday, again, we've repeated this multiple times, but it's important. This school serves second, third, and fourth graders, incredibly young children, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. And the morbid details that we are getting from the shooting is this shooter went into one single fourth grade classroom, locked himself in, barricaded it, and essentially almost all of the casualties from this incident were in that one single classroom. Absolutely horrific. 19 dead children, 2 dead teachers. And as you take a look at more video of the aftermath of the scene there, the big question has been parents, loved ones, trying to get information on their children. We are now sadly finding out that some of the parents and loved ones that we interviewed last night who were looking for their little children have now gotten the worst news you can get, that those children did not survive, unfortunately. Incredibly difficult, heart-wrenching, life-changing news a lot of families here in Uvalde, Texas are getting today. Back out here live, I'm also hearing from law enforcement sources that a lot of those first responders who went in there yesterday, the local officers as well as that Border Patrol, BORTAC agent and team, are really struggling with what they saw in there. We don't want to go into the details of it, but by all accounts we're hearing it was a horrible scene in there, and you got to keep those law enforcement officials, in our thoughts tonight, because what they had to witness is just absolutely horrific in there, Bill.
One can only imagine. Simple question, Bill. Yesterday there was a civic center where many parents went. Is that still open and available today, or is there a central meeting place for families who have questions?
We believe they are still using that civic center. We are over at the school now, so we're not over there looking at everything going on. But obviously, they want to keep the media away from the families, which is entirely understandable. But yes, as of yesterday, as of this morning, we know they did have a room in there where they were privately notifying these families. And when we were there yesterday, really some of the toughest scenes I've seen in my career of these people bawling and getting these calls and notifications and walking out of that building. Their lives have changed forever, and they've got the worst news imaginable. So Texas law enforcement do tell us now, though, that all victims have been identified and all notifications have gone out to these families.
Bill, I have a question. Do you know how police found out that the grandmother was shot in the first place?
We do not. We heard that potentially they heard gunshots and went inside, but we're still waiting for details on that. We all want to know what was the issue with this domestic dispute. I mean, what kind of a guy shoots his own grandma in the face, right? So we're waiting for more details on that, and especially to find out what, if any, connection there was to that shooting and the school shooting, because law enforcement tell us there was some element of premeditation here. He strapped on tactical body armor, he had a lot of ammo with him, he went in with a rifle, and he locked himself into that classroom and essentially just started shooting indiscriminately. So they're really hoping that the grandma survives her injury so she can maybe give some more context into how that day started. But latest update is she is in serious, life-threatening condition, fighting for her life in San Antonio.
Bill, I'm going to ask you one more, then we're going to bring in Ted Williams here. There's a report out there about this 18-year-old killer, that he was shy, that throughout the course of his time through education, high school and before that he was bullied, that he was troubled. Apparently, the reports say he had a tough family life, moving between his own mother and his grandparents and back again, and had a bit of a torn relationship with his mom. Has any of that been repeated to you, other reporters down there working this story?
Not those specifics, but it certainly matches up with what Texas DPS just told us about 10 minutes ago, that he fits the profile of a loner, if you will. They're having trouble finding any family, any friends for him, no girlfriend. Nobody has come forward to say they know him. Really, the only person they've identified is his grandmother. They can't even find any biological parents, anything like that. They tell me he was unemployed at the time of the shooting, no criminal history, no gang affiliation. He did go to school here in Uvalde in years past, but they don't know a whole lot about him right now, and they don't have these family members that they're able to talk to gain more insight right now. So that's why they're going through his phone, going through his social media, really trying to find out anything they possibly can. But based off the description you just said to me, Bill, yes, that's exactly what Texas DPS told us. He fits the profile of a loner.
Bill, thank you. Bill Melugin on scene. Back to you shortly, Bill. And again, that press conference 3 hours away, and we'll cover that when it begins. Thank you, Bill.